Inspired by aspects of nature, elements and element chunkies produce lush, organic, and earthy hues, designed to simulate the aesthetic movement and interest of mid-range and high-fired glazes in a cone 0605 oxidization kiln firing. Elements are stunning as a standalone glaze or in combinations. This beautiful platter is a combination of elements, classic Crackle, Pottery Cascades, and a splatter of Stroke and Coat. Applying elements over foundation glaze creates a soft, muted, fired finish. You cannot accomplish this look with any other glazes. Stroke and Coat and elements may be combined for design work, but be aware Stroke and Coat may change colors. Always test. For example, this is Stroke and Coat SC15 Tuxedo, but it has more of a brown hue. Have a little bit of fun by combining Stroke and Coat, elements, and eyelash yarn for a very playful background. Add a little designer touch by stamping Stroke and Coat over the pairs. Voila! Elements surfaces vary from gloss to matte with subtle variations in each color for a unique look. Elements Chunkies is an elements glaze with chunks of glaze milled into the glaze. The chunks or crystals bloom during firing to add visual interest. You can combine elements with elements or elements with other elements chunkies. Element chunkies may not be suitable for dinnerware due to the surface characteristics, which makes it difficult to properly sanitize. The following information applies to both chunkies and elements. Non-toxic and lead-free, but look for the AP seal to rest assured that they are. Products bearing the AP seal are certified as safe and to contain no materials in sufficient quantities to be toxic or injurious to humans, including children, or to cause acute or chronic health problems. The Elements brochure lists the AP or CL seal and whether or not the glaze is dinnerware safe. The label recommends 3 coats to shelf cone 04 bisque. In this demonstration, we are going to use a soft fan brush that is fully loaded. Notice how that the brush was plumped up with glaze, and we're going to apply the glaze in one direction, following the shape of the mug. Application, oxygen, and heat work all affects the fired finish of your products. So in this example, we're going to show you how to apply it in one direction and then show you the fired finish. Then we'll go on to show you applying it in a random fashion and the fired finish. You as the artist will determine how you like to glaze and apply element glazes to your work. When applying the 3 coats of elements glazes, make sure you allow each coat to dry before you put the next layer on. You're looking for dull and not shiny anymore before you put the next coat on. This is what the mug looks like when you apply the glaze in one direction. The glaze is going to break horizontally and show the various striations of colors because elements glazes are typically multi-tonal. So you can see the break and flow by going in one direction. Now let's look at applying the glaze in a random fashion. Here we're going to pat on or kind of plop and pat the color on with brush strokes going in all kinds of directions. Again, you will allow the glaze to dry where it looks dull and not shiny and before you put your next coat on. The mug looks entirely different than the first one. You can see more colors and a random pattern all over the mug because it was applied completely differently. The beautiful thing about Elements glaze is application, again, makes the difference. You can paint 6 of these and they're all going to have a different finish based upon your application. Now we're going to explore using elements and combinations, 2 different element colors, and the introduction of white Cascade and clear Cascade. You always want to shake up your colors before you pour it out onto a palette. Again, this is an improved product, non-toxic and lead-free. I'm going to pour it out onto a palette, and you're going to get your new best friend, the soft fan brush, completely loaded up. And we're going to apply the glaze again, going in one direction. We're going to do about the top third or maybe up to the top half with EL103 Sea Spray. We're going to apply 3 coats, but you will see we're going to apply 2 coats first and then introduce a Pottery Cascade. We're going to be overlapping the blue grotto with the Sea Spray and combining or sandwiching Pottery Cascades. White Cascade will introduce a white, clear, grabs hold of the colors that already exist, and pulls out the multi-tones. Pottery Cascades are non-toxic and lead-free, as shown by the AP seal on both of the jars. Now we're going to sandwich the Pottery Cascades between the element glazes. One side will be white, one side will be clear. We're taking a soft fan brush and staying away from the bottom half of the mug with the cascade so it doesn't run off the bisque. We're patting on clear cascade, but don't go past the halfway mark because that handle will be like a slip and slide and your glaze could go right off the wear. Now we're adding on the same colors, blue grotto, going over the cascades, and then we're going to go with Sea Spray, going over the cascades and probably blending into the blue grotto. So you're kind of sandwiching and building you a yummy glaze combination. Another note, do not use clear glaze over any of the element glazes. These are a fritted glaze. They will fire nice and glossy, as you will see in the sample in a minute. It's not precise, it's a little messy, but it sure is pretty when fired. Adding a Pottery Cascade to an element glaze changes the whole fired finish. Here's the Sea Spray. Down here we had the blue grotto, but look how the white changes and adds an interesting element between the two glazes. You can see how it moved downwards, but you still have a nice break. This is the clear cascade. Clear cascades add a great shine. You can see how it pulled the colors together, introducing a different little element to it. Here's where we put it on the handle. And even though I said don't go too far down, look how it ran just a little bit, but we lucked out. It didn't go onto the kiln shelves. This mug is going to have the cascades applied only to the rim. You'll notice that we're patting it on fairly thick, applying it where it falls down into the inside as well as the outside. White Cascade is pretty intense, so you'll notice a difference between applying it on top of the glazes or sandwiching it between the glaze. Look how pretty. Notice how the White Cascade goes inside the mug as well as the outside, grabbing the colors of the mug as well as introducing white. The clear cascade adds a beautiful sheen, and look at the striations and the break where the glazes flowed and moved. A few element glazes contain a substance such as soluble copper, which can present a health risk to the user and thus requires a CL label. The glazes which feature the CL label will note the ingredients requiring the label and precautions a consumer should take. CL products should not be used by children in grade 6 or lower or 12 and under. Element glazes were designed to mature at cone 05, 06, but why not experiment at cone 6 or cone 10? Also, use element glazes on your hand-built projects for a wonderful fired finish. Enjoy!